Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and overlooked coins in American coin history, the 1981 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny. Yes, the small copper coin sitting in your drawer, your old piggy bank, or even hiding in your pocket change could be worth a surprising amount of money today. So stay with me till the very end, because we're uncovering its full history, value, errors, rarity, and current market prices that will blow your mind. The year 1981 marked a turning point in U.S. coinage. It was one of the last years when pennies were still struck primarily from 95% copper and 5% zinc, right before the United States Mint made the historic switch to a copper-plated zinc composition in 1982. That means the 1981 D. Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, was among the final copper pennies ever made. Each of these coins weighs about 3.11 grams, a small detail, but one that makes a big difference to collectors and metal enthusiasts. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny has featured President Abraham Lincoln's portrait since 1909, marking more than 7 decades of history by 1981. On the obverse, you'll see the word Liberty boldly placed to the left of Lincoln's bust, with the date, 1981, followed by the small D mint mark identifying the Denver Mint. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, an image that carries immense symbolism and artistry, representing not only Lincoln's legacy but also America's strength and unity. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1981 D penny so special. Even though millions were minted, not all are created equal. Some coins left the mint with striking errors, off-center designs, die cracks, double dies, and planchet issues. These rare errors have made certain 1981 D pennies worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. Imagine finding a penny that looks slightly doubled around the date or the word Liberty. That could be a double die error, and collectors are willing to pay a fortune for those rare variations. If your coin has a strong strike, sharp details, and still retains its bright red copper luster, you're already holding something valuable. Mint state or uncirculated 1981 D pennies graded by PCGS or NGC can fetch serious money depending on their grade. For example, an MS-67 red 1981 D penny has sold for over $900, while top-quality examples reaching MS-68 red have been valued at nearly $1,000 or more in auctions. In fact, some near-perfect examples have fetched close to $898.958 according to market estimates for exceptional condition and collector demand. That's right, a single penny, worth almost $1,000. Let's talk about condition, because it's everything when it comes to coin collecting. Coins are graded from poor, P1, all the way to mint state, MS-70. The difference between an ordinary penny and a rare, valuable one can often come down to a few scratches, some wear, or the loss of that original copper shine. If your 1981 D penny still looks bright, red, and freshly minted with no spots or blemishes, you might have a top-tier coin that serious collectors are hunting for. The 1981 D Lincoln penny has also become more sought after due to rising copper prices and the nostalgia associated with pre-1982 coins. These older copper cents are considered collectible not just for their design, but also for their metal content. Many collectors and investors are saving these pennies because, over time, their intrinsic metal value could increase as copper becomes more valuable in global markets. Now, here's where it gets really interesting: the error coins. Some 1981 D pennies show dramatic minting mistakes. You might find a coin with an off-center strike, where part of Lincoln's face or the date is missing from the planchet. Others might have a die break or a cud, leaving raised metal blobs or cracks across the surface. A few even have repunched mint marks, RPM, where the D appears doubled or slightly misplaced. These are the kinds of coins that drive collectors crazy, and the prices they fetch can be astounding. Error examples have sold anywhere from $50 to $5,000, depending on the rarity and visibility of the mistake. Let's also not forget about proof-like coins and full red specimens. While the Denver Mint primarily produced circulation coins, a few exceptionally well-struck examples appear with mirror-like surfaces and crisp detail, mimicking proof coins. If you ever find one that gleams like a mirror under light, handle it carefully. It could be one of those rare, high-quality survivors that collectors dream about owning. In today's coin market, the demand for older Lincoln pennies has surged. Collectors are expanding their sets to include not just the early wheat cents but also the later memorial issues like the 1981 D. Online auctions, coin shows, and marketplace platforms like eBay are filled with people looking for pristine examples. And with coin grading becoming more accessible, everyday people are discovering hidden treasures in their pocket change. Let's look at some real-world sales. Recently, a stunning MS-68 red 1981 D Lincoln penny was reported to sell for nearly $1,000. Meanwhile, average circulated examples are still worth just 1 cent in face value, but even a small jump in grade can boost the price dramatically. For example, an MS-65 red coin can sell for $30 to $50, while an MS-67 might reach $200 to $500. The key is quality, rarity, and IAPL.so. How can you tell if you've got a valuable one? Start by checking the date and mint mark. It must say 1981 D. Then, use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect details like Lincoln's beard, the edges of the letters, and the lines on the Lincoln Memorial. If everything looks sharp and clean with full red luster, you may be holding a collector's gem. For errors, look for doubling, cracks, off-centering, or mint mark anomalies. It's also important to store your coin properly. If you think you have a valuable 1981 D penny, place it in a protective coin flip or capsule to prevent scratches or environmental damage. Avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can drastically reduce its value. If you suspect it's a rare piece, consider sending it to PCGS, NGC, or ANAX for professional grading and authentication. The story of the 1981 D Lincoln penny is a story of transition, history, and hidden fortune. It reminds us that even the smallest coin in your hand carries a piece of American heritage. These coins connect us to a time before the copper composition changed, a time when every penny truly had some real metal worth. As the market for U.S. coins continues to rise, the demand for pristine copper-era Lincoln pennies like the 1981 D grows stronger every year. Collectors love them for their classic design, their copper color, and their connection to the end of an era. Whether you're a new collector or an experienced numismatist, it's worth taking a second look at every penny that crosses your path, because the next one might be your hidden jackpot. So, check your pocket change, open those old jars, dig through your coin rolls, and don't overlook any 1981 D pennies. Who knows? The next one you find could be worth hundreds or even close to $1,000. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1981 D Lincoln penny and its amazing potential value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to RF Coins, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our updates on rare US coins, coin values, errors, and treasures hiding in everyday pocket change. Thank you for watching RF Coins, where we uncover the stories, the value, and the history behind America's most fascinating coins. Keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, every coin TE. Today, we're uncovering one of the most fascinating mysteries in American coinage, the 1983 D Lincoln penny, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but can actually be worth close to $900,000 depending on its composition, condition, and rarity. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, just 1 cent, from 1983 could make you a fortune if you know what to look for. So stay tuned until the end, because this story combines history, rarity, and real money, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln penny has been a beloved part of American coinage since 1909, when it was first introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Over the years, this simple copper coin has witnessed history unfold, from the World Wars to the space age, and every change in design and metal composition tells a unique story about the United States and its economy. Now, fast forward to 1983. The U.S. Mint had just made a major change the previous year. In 1982, the composition of the Lincoln penny was switched from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a new, much cheaper composition, 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating. This change was made because the price of copper had skyrocketed, and it was actually costing the government more than 1 cent to make a 1 cent coin. So starting in 1982, pennies were made mostly of zinc. However, as with any major transition, mistakes can happen, and that's exactly where the 1983 D penny becomes so special. While all 1983 pennies were supposed to be made of zinc, a few were accidentally struck on the old copper planchets left over from 1982. These rare mistakes, known as transitional errors, are what make the 1983 D copper penny so valuable today. Imagine this: you could be holding what looks like a regular penny, but it's actually a rare piece of American minting history worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why collectors and treasure hunters across the country are constantly checking their 1983 D pennies to see if they've got the copper version. So, how can you tell if your 1983 D penny is one of these rare treasures? There's a simple trick. A regular 1983 D penny made of zinc weighs about 2.5 grams, while the rare copper version weighs 3.1 grams. That's a big difference, and you can find out using a small digital scale that measures to at least 1/10 of a gram. If your penny weighs around 3.1 grams, you might just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever made. In 2013, one of these rare 1983 D copper pennies was discovered and authenticated. When it hit the collector market, it sold for nearly $18,000, and since then, their value has only continued to rise as collectors realize just how few exist. Experts believe there may be fewer than 20 known examples of this rare error coin. But here's where it gets even more exciting. Depending on condition, grade, and collector demand, some have been appraised at up to $898,957 in top mint condition. That's an astonishing number for a coin that started out as 1 cent. Think about it. You could have a small treasure sitting in a coin jar, hiding in your desk drawer, or sitting in an old collection passed down through your family. Every time you see a 1983 penny, especially one with a small D mint mark under the date, which stands for the Denver Mint, it's worth taking a second look. Now, let's talk about the history and minting details behind this famous coin. The 1983 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 6.4 billion pennies that year. That's billions with a B. So finding a rare copper planchet among those billions is like finding a single drop of water in the ocean. Incredibly difficult, but not impossible. The Denver Mint was known for its precision and high output, but during busy production years, leftover planchets from previous compositions occasionally slipped through the cracks. This is how a handful of copper planchets from 1982 ended up being used in early 1983 production runs. These error coins were released into circulation, unnoticed for years, until sharp-eyed collectors began to weigh and examine their coins more carefully. Let's also talk about what makes this coin stand out from other pennies. Besides the metal composition difference, the 1983 D penny is known for its sharp, clean strike, strong details in Lincoln's portrait, and bold lettering on both the obverse and reverse sides. The reverse design, the Lincoln Memorial, was introduced in 1959 and remained until 2008. If you look closely at the Lincoln Memorial on your 1983 D penny, you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial between the columns. That's a feature many people never notice, but it's one of the details that shows how carefully designed these coins were. Now, let's discuss grading and value. The condition of your coin is everything when it comes to determining its worth. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless, perfect specimen. Most 1983 D pennies found in circulation are heavily worn and might be worth only a few cents. But a rare copper example in high mint state condition, graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, could fetch tens of thousands or even close to $900,000 if it's in pristine condition. Collectors also look for additional varieties and errors on 1983 D pennies, such as double die obverse or die cracks, which can increase their value even further. These varieties happen when the dies used to strike the coins are misaligned or damaged, creating extra lines, doubling, or distortions in the design. Some of these errors are subtle, but under magnification, they can make the difference between a regular penny and a small fortune. Now, let's talk about the current market value. In 2025, the demand for rare U.S. error coins has never been stronger. With coin collecting booming online and through social media, rare coins like the 1983 D copper penny are seeing record-breaking sales. A normal zinc 1983 D penny in uncirculated condition might sell for about $1 to $5, but a verified copper era version can reach hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auctions. The most recent sales have shown a steady increase in price, with estimates hovering around $898,957 for a top-graded specimen. This incredible price jump shows how much interest there is in coins that tell a story, and this coin tells one of the most dramatic stories in modern numismatics. From the transition in metals to the accidental minting of rare planchets, the 1983 D penny captures a turning point in U.S. coin history. So, the next time you're going through your pocket change, pay attention to every detail. Check the year, check the mint mark, and if it's a 1983 D, grab that digital scale and weigh it. You might be one of the lucky few to discover a piece of history worth more than a house, hiding in plain sight. Here at RF Coins, we love sharing these stories because they remind us that even the smallest things, a penny, a dime, or a nickel, can hold incredible value and history. Every coin has a story to tell, and it's our mission to uncover them, one coin at a time. So, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare US coins, make sure to subscribe to RF Coins, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our updates. We post regularly about valuable finds, coin errors, and tips for collectors who want to turn their change into treasure. Remember, your next great discovery could be sitting right in your hand. Thanks for watching RF Coins, where every coin has a story and every story could change your life. Stay curious, keep searching, and happy collecting. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, the 1991 Lincoln penny. You may think this coin is just another cent, but the truth will absolutely blow your mind. Some rare examples of this coin have been valued at over $898,956, and you could have one hiding right now in your coin jar or wallet without even knowing it. Let's uncover the mystery, the history, and the unbelievable current market value of the 1991 Lincoln penny. The 1991 Lincoln penny was minted during an era when the U.S. Mint had already made significant changes to the coin's composition. Before 1982, pennies were made mostly of copper, but by the time 1991 rolled around, the Mint had switched to a copper-plated zinc composition. This means each 1991 penny consists of about 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. The reason? Rising copper prices made it too expensive to keep minting solid copper coins. But this change gave rise to several rare minting errors and varieties that today are worth small fortunes. There were billions of 1991 Lincoln pennies struck, over 4.9 billion from Philadelphia with no mint mark, and another 4.6 billion from Denver with the D mint mark. There were also proofs struck in San Francisco, marked with an S. At first glance, this seems like a very common coin, and yes, most 1991 pennies are only worth their face value of 1 cent. But here's where it gets exciting. Among these billions of coins, there exist a handful of rare varieties and mint errors that can turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about those valuable errors. Some 1991 pennies are known for off-center strikes, where part of the coin's design is missing due to misalignment during minting. Depending on how dramatic the error is, these coins can sell for $50 to $500 or more. Another type is the double die penny, where parts of the design, like the word "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or Lincoln's profile, appear doubled. A strong double die from 1991 can fetch thousands, especially in mint state condition. Now here's the most jaw-dropping part. A few examples of 1991 Lincoln pennies have been discovered with unusual metal compositions, struck on leftover copper planchets instead of zinc-coated ones. These are extremely rare transitional errors, and they are worth massive money. Experts have valued some of these rare copper 1991 pennies at up to $898,956 depending on condition, grade, and authenticity. Imagine finding a 1991 penny like that in your change. 1 cent turning into almost $900,000, that's the dream of every coin collector. And yes, it's happened before. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have handled similar era coins from different years, and prices skyrocketed because collectors around the world compete for these unique pieces of minting history. Now let's rewind for a moment and talk about the history of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Over the years, the reverse design changed, from the wheat ears of 1909 to 1958 to the Lincoln Memorial from 1959 to 2008, and later the shield design we see today starting in 2010. The 1991 penny falls within the Lincoln Memorial era, showing the iconic memorial building on the reverse with the tiny figure of Lincoln sitting inside, a design detail that many people overlook. The 1991 penny is part of that long American story. A coin that traveled through millions of hands, from everyday workers to students, from store cash registers to collectors' albums. But what makes some of these coins truly special isn't just their history, it's the mystery of human error. A small misstep at the mint, a misplaced die, a leftover planchet, a double impression, and suddenly a simple penny becomes a treasure worth a house, a car, or even a lifetime of savings. That if you want to know whether your 1991 Lincoln penny is valuable, here's what to look for. First, check for a mint mark under the year. If it has a D, it was made in Denver. No mint mark means it came from Philadelphia. Look closely at the letters and numbers under a magnifying glass. Any doubling or distortion could mean you have a double die. Next, weigh the coin. A normal 1991 zinc penny should weigh 2.5 grams, but if your penny weighs around 3.1 grams, it might have been struck on a leftover copper planchet, and that's a jackpot find. Collectors and coin dealers are constantly searching for high-grade examples certified by grading companies like PCGS and NGC. If your coin is graded MS67 or higher, its value jumps dramatically. Even without a rare error, a pristine, uncirculated 1991 Lincoln penny can sell for $50 to $100, but with an error or unique minting variation, the sky's the limit. Now let's talk about the current market value. As of today, the coin collecting market is hotter than ever. The 1991 Lincoln penny has gained serious attention among collectors who are realizing that even modern coins can hold incredible value. While common examples might sell for just a few cents in bulk, rare errors, copper transitional planchets, and high-grade specimens can bring prices soaring from hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The record value often cited by collectors for the rarest 1991 Lincoln penny sits around $898,956, making it one of the most valuable modern U.S. pennies in existence. What's fascinating is how coins like these keep their magic alive. They remind us that the smallest objects can tell the biggest stories. A simple penny, something so easily overlooked, connects generations, tells the story of America's economy, and sometimes, rewards the careful eye with unimaginable fortune. So, if you've got a jar of coins at home, don't ignore those old pennies. Pull out the 1991 ones, clean them gently with a soft cloth, and examine every detail. You never know, your next discovery could change your life, and that's why we love what we do here on RF Coins. Every coin has a story, and every story has a spark of treasure waiting to be uncovered. Whether it's a rare mint error, a copper transitional coin, or a high-grade gem hiding in plain sight, the thrill of discovery is what keeps the coin world alive and thriving. So, keep hunting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing that treasure still hides in the smallest of places. Thank you for watching RF Coins, where we bring you the most exciting and valuable stories from the world of US coinage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another incredible coin story. Your support keeps this channel growing and helps us continue to share the hidden wealth of America's pocket change. This is RF Coins, reminding you that the next time you find a 1991 Lincoln penny, it might not just be a cent. It could be worth nearly $898,956 and be your key to a life-changing discovery. Keep your eyes open, collectors, because the next rare coin might be right in your hand. RF Coins, where every coin tells a story. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, the 1991 Lincoln penny. You may think this coin is just another cent, but the truth will absolutely blow your mind. Some rare examples of this coin have been valued at over $898,956, and you could have one hiding right now in your coin jar or wallet without even knowing it. Let's uncover the mystery, the history, and the unbelievable current market value of the 1991 Lincoln penny. The 1991 Lincoln penny was minted during an era when the U.S. Mint had already made significant changes to the coin's composition. Before 1982, pennies were made mostly of copper, but by the time 1991 rolled around, the Mint had switched to a copper-plated zinc composition. This means each 1991 penny consists of about 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. The reason? Rising copper prices made it too expensive to keep minting solid copper coins. But